Matthew, what you got for me, brother?
All right. So I'm curious how you handle backing up a client on dangerous game hunts, right? So as a client, I feel like, if we're after a buffalo or whatever, right? If my view is if you have to shoot it, I screwed up and I failed, right? Now, it doesn't mean I'm not going to be happy with my buffalo, right? But ultimately, like, that's on me. So how do you manage like the communication with the client and when you need to back a client up? I mean, clearly there's a point where you need to step in, but how do you handle that balance?
Great question once again. And this topic, communication with your client is very, very important because it does boil down to not only a success issue, but a safety issue. So I'm going to request 2 minutes on this one too. Again, Whitley, this is a good question. Okay. So anyway, don't start the time yet. I'm gathering my thoughts. Now, so the deal is I have that conversation ahead of time. Every client is different, right? Every client is different. A client that wants to do a brain shot on an elephant is a different discussion than a guy who's hunting his first buffalo or his 50th buffalo. If he's hunting his 50th buffalo or even his 20th, or even if he's hunting his third buffalo, he'll tell you, Nathan or Mr. PH, shoot that sumbitch. I mean, just if you can, just whatever, right? I'm here to hunt. But that comes probably because after 5 or 10 buffalo, he's seen somebody, he's been in a situation he didn't want to be in again, right? You read all these books about charges, you read all these books about all this stuff. It seldom happens. When it does happen, it's not fun and it's not great. I mean, when it's over, it's great. Everybody laughs because, they're happy. They're happy to be alive. But the thing is, so I'm backing up a client. It's an individual thing. My job is to get a person to where he can kill his animal. Now, also my job is to make sure the safety of that person and my crew, and then even myself, right? I mean, that's also my main priority. If I can see how the conversation usually goes, if we are under direct threat for any situation, I will shoot my gun, and I really don't care about the hunt or what anybody thinks. If somebody's going to get hurt, I reserve the right to shoot all my bullets and have my client be pissed off. That's how that goes. Once again, back to keeping everybody safe. In a hunting situation in real life, we're going to sneak up. We're going to be 80 yards away. You're going to be on the sticks. I'm going to tell you that buffalo, see the buffalo where the bird just flew off of his back? Second one from that calf? Yes. Double confirm. Yes. Are you on him? Yes. Stand down. When I say shoot, I want you to hit him in the shoulder. All right. We're going to have some kind of conversation like that. And I am communicating to you, and I want affirmative or negative answers. Did you see that buffalo with the bird? I want a yes. I want a verb audible yes. And I'm deaf, so you kind of have to talk loud. Then the one next to the calf, 2 buffalo to the right of the calf. Do you see him? Yes. I know we're on the same buffalo. I'm preventing a screw up by just being a good PH and getting positive or negative feedback from my hunter, right? We're cutting all these problems out from the get-go. Mm-hmm. Then I'm going to give you the command to shoot. And it is my job to tell you when to shoot. Not, maybe shoot. Nope, don't shoot. Don't shoot. Nope, shoot. What, wait, don't. No. All that crap is nonsense, right? It is shoot. And I want to hear the gun go bang. Now, if the animal moves, I'll say, stand down, don't shoot. There's a cow coming. Right? I'll give you plenty of time. My job is to be watching what's going on. Once again, I'm preventing what your question is about, a backup shot. I'm preventing what this. So when I say shoot, you've got a good 3 or 4 count. Let's call it a 3 count, 4 count. A lot of stuff can happen in a 4 count in Africa. But I want to hear the gun go bang. I've done my job. You've done your job, meaning the sticks are up. you're looking at the animal. We've confirmed it. Everything's in place. All right. So now the perfect opportunity is there, and I say shoot, and you shoot. One of two things is going to happen. Buffalo's going to leave, or the buffalo's going to come. If the buffalo comes and you have sat there and admired your shot and the animal gets within 20 yards, I will shoot. If I don't hear your gun reload automatically and I see that your bullet has impacted in not a great position, not always possible, right? I'm looking at the animal reaction. I'm looking at dust to fly off that animal. I'm looking at the animal's exit strategy. I'm looking at all these things while you're thinking, holy crap, I just shot a buffalo, right? That's what you're going to be thinking. And I'm looking at all this other stuff. And then if I see it's a gut shot and I look over and you're sitting there doing this, watching him run off, whatever we talked about around the fire just kind of went out the window. I'm putting one in his ass.
Yep.
Right?
No, and that's all what I'd expect. I mean, number one is safety for everybody, right? I would never expect that to be compromised. I guess, I've heard stories though of people just like the PH basically shooting the same time they did, like it was a double whammy. And it's like, I want the opportunity to execute on it. And if I screw up, then absolutely help. Right. But
yeah, your question is a great question. And I'm in the amount that I know you shoot and the amount that you've prepared for your safari. And I don't expect any of these things, right? I mean, but in general, I mean, the answer, I just kind of like to start from the beginning and take it all the way through. Now, if something happens, and I see something that's not going wrong, I just have to make a snap decision. My job is not to fire my gun right after you fire your gun. A lot of PHs do that. Unfortunately, I think a lot of it is is because they are not experienced and they are not comfortable. They are not comfortable around dangerous game, and they are not experienced enough to know to really have a good handle on what's going on, right? I think that's where that immediate backup shot comes from. The other one comes from my friend, Mr. Sullivan, that he was making movies, and every now and again he'd shoot real quick. But also, too, Mark Sullivan, he could shoot a double rifle under pressure about as good as anybody on planet Earth, right? I mean, but a lot of that, I don't know. He's a whole nother topic. And I know him a little bit. I've talked to him many, many times, but he's been accused of always shooting his clients' animals. That's where a lot of this conversation come from. And then a lot of it is inexperienced PHs that are worried about one thing or another, and they shoot. Now, if we do everything right, my goal is to not shoot my gun at all. If an animal is suffering, if you're out of bullets, if you shot dry and the buffalo's dying on the ground, I'm going to ask you, hey, let me, or take my double rifle and kill him, right? If there's a dangerous situation, then I'll shoot. But I have a lot of clients that prefer. I had a guy named Wayne from Texas, one of my favorite clients. He shot the Big Five with me, several of them multiple times. And he always told me, he said, Nathan, I'm here to have a good time. He said, I shoot, you shoot, I'll tell the story, right? Which Wayne worked very hard and ended up on the right side of the tax bracket. And Wayne was a little bit older and a little bit overweight, and one of my favorite people, but he was not there to have something chase him. He was there for vacation. And it was Nathan, and guess how many animals of Wayne's I ever had to shoot? I think
Probably
only one. I think only one, because there was no pressure. He knew I was right behind him. I got him in position to shoot, and he put the X on it and killed his animals. I think he shot 4 buffalo with me. I never fired a shot. He killed an elephant with me. I fired a shot. He killed a couple elephants. I fired a shot because his gun jammed, but he had already body shot the elephant and it was standing there dying. So good preparation is key. Good communication is key. That's on buffalo. Now, if we go on to elephants or lion or leopard, there is a little bit different protocol. You know, things can happen where it's just different things. But in general, the first shot, I want it to be all yours, and I want it to be a killing shot. Even if we follow up, my goal on a follow-up is to get you in position to hit that animal again. Many times, a well-shot buffalo is found standing or waiting or whatever. My job is to get you back on the sticks and you kill that animal.
Fair enough.
I have a follow-up on that.
Yes,
so if you are up on the sticks and shoot, do you want your client to put another bullet in the animal as quickly as they possibly can, or do you like them to wait for your word on the second shot?
I like them to as a rule of thumb, reload and shoot again, but have your ears open, because about half of the time I have to call it off, and I call off the shot before he's even on the animal again, right? A cow comes in front, or a calf, or whatever, something weird something happens, right? So as a general rule, if he can see the same animal and he knows it's the same animal, once again, that practice we talked about on the first meeting, that practice routine of 100 yards off the sticks, 50 yards offhand, 20 yards offhand, that trains a person's brain and eye and hand-eye coordination to be on that animal the whole time. If he's sure it's the same animal, please reload, shoot again. And if you can hit him a third time, reload, shoot again. Now, what we don't want is bullets going in strange directions and hitting things. We don't want pass through to kill a cow. We don't want all the bad things that could go down, right? I mean, but yes, if you see that animal and you're on him, you know, a buffalo bull, when you hit him, he bucks, right? I mean, most of the time they buck, and then a guy can come down, the herd moves off or the other bulls move away, and he's a little bit slow. So it's usually fairly obvious your target animal, and I want you to hit him. I want you to shoot all your bullets, right? I want you to hit him with all your bullets. I don't want any bullets going into other creatures. So very good follow-up question. What else on that? Somebody have another question about I guess this is called protocol on shooting dangerous animals.
I'll just throw something out real quick, Nathan. I was talking to a friend of mine who's been to Africa 3 times, buffalo, elephant, and things. And one of the questions I asked him is, anything you wish you'd done differently in your trips? And his thing, don't stand and admire your shot. Reload and get ready to take that next shot. That was his thing. He realized he was doing it, and that was a mistake he made.
Yep. We see that mistake a lot. And, you know, in North America, it's like it's a one-shot deal, right? A white-tailed deer, it's a one-shot deal most of the time. You know, people get trained to do it's true. It's just inexperience with African animals. And these African animals are very, very tough. Many of them require multiple bullets. They're just tougher than any North American game. I think most people would attest to that. So yes, reload, shoot again. Do not admire your first shot. Be prepared. I said this in the first meeting, and I'll say it again. Hunting in Africa is a team sport. Your job is to send projectiles downrange and to have a good time. Don't mess up your first job. Send projectiles on target downrange. That's what we need you to do, because that's going to make you have a real good time. I mean, that's how those two things are directly related.
I have I guess a strange question sort of to follow up on that one then. I grew up as a bird hunter primarily, and so I was sort of trained to, empty the gun every time something flushed. And then when I did start big game hunting, it was either tracking or on deer drives. And again, it was empty your gun every time you get a shot. So I'm on the other side of the coin. I tend to shoot quick and often, because that's sort of how I grew up doing it. Do you find any of your clients, like I know tracking in Maine is a big thing, or maybe bird hunters? Do you find there's a difference between, say, hunters from different parts of the states who admire their shots less, or maybe Germans who are used to, say, driven hunts? Is there any difference in that that you've noticed? And I'm only asking that it just popped into my mind, that it's personal interest.
I run the risk of pissing somebody off from a certain part of the country right now, but I will make some vague generalizations on this.
You can say the Missouri guys are the best. It's all right.
Well, I mean, there's no question. I mean, these Missouri boys. I mean, we grew up hungry. I mean, you got to shoot. We call it the starvation bead, right? We didn't even have a scope. It's the starvation bead. Now the deal is, you would be how you described yourself would be rare. I seldom have a person that can shoot too quick and too many times. I have had people shoot when they've been told not to or didn't, or I have had many, the wrong animals have been hit before because of errant shots, or somebody being under pressure trying to shoot too quick. But I would generally say, with not to make anybody upset, but it seems that Southern, I would say your Texas, Louisiana, and Texas is changing a lot, but I'd say your Texas, Louisiana, Mississippi, Arkansas, Missouri, Florida, Carolinas, those guys hunt a lot, and they reload and shoot again quickly. I would say the upper northern people, because of the deer drive aspect, they're good at shooting more than one slug or reloading their gun, right? So I'd say that. The Germans, their equipment is so refined and they're so analytical. I mean, they're over there still trying to work out the math on why they missed instead of shooting another bullet, right? I mean, Germans just drive me nuts. The Spanish clients. And the good thing about Germans, good hunters, great equipment, knowledgeable people, love them, right? But they're not a if there's lead in the air, there's hope. That's I guess a redneck saying. They don't believe in that, right? They're trying to work out trajectories. Spanish shoot too much and poorly. Generally, they shoot too many times poorly, and they listen to no instruction. That's Spanish hunters. They shoot a lot of bullets. And
the French throw their rifles down and run away, right?
The French, you can get a good deal on a gun fired one time.
Only fired once, and scratched just a little when they threw it down.
Okay. And with this being said, I mean, I need to sell hunts to everybody from everywhere, right? But that's kind of stereotypic, right? Especially with the Spanish, if it's a warthog. If the Spanish see a warthog, you might as well just do this and hope for the best, because they're going to shoot all their bullets. I mean, they're going to shoot all their bullets. That's how that goes, period.
The Spanish love their ham.
Oh, and they call him.
My brother-in-law's a Spaniard, and he loves ham.
Yes.
He always wants me to come over and shoot hogs for him.
And they call them fucocheros. Fucochero. That's a warthog, is a fucochero. And I mean, they'll be saying that as fast as they can shoot that gun, and it is scary, right? I mean, it's scary. They love the fuckos, and for sure they call them fuckos. This is true. So anyway, the main thing is shoot fast, shoot accurate. A wasted bullet's a wasted bullet. But then again, a buffalo running away where there's nothing to lose, might as well shoot, right? Put one somewhere in his ass. But also listen to instruction, because it's also my job to try to help. Or if I try to move you, maybe I try to move you because I think the buffalo is going to hook a left, and I want you looking down this lane where you'll have a better shot. Just let people help you, but reload and be ready to shoot again and listen for instruction. All right. Anything else for the shooting on animals? It's a big topic. I mean, it's a big topic and a good question. So what else? We covered buffalo. Back to the original thing. Matt, it is discussed ahead of time, and every client is different. And like a cat hunt, for instance, a cat hunt is a one-shot deal. There's no deals. There's no talk about what we're going to do following up a wounded lion. This is not a discussion. The lion is going to charge, and all hell's going to break loose, and it's terrible. So it's not like, a cat hunt is a one-shot deal. Lion or leopard, one-shot deal. Hippo's all or nothing, right? They either come or they don't. Most time they don't. Crocodile is not crocodiles are dangerous. I don't really consider them dangerous game unless you have to try to blood trail them underwater. That's dangerous. But it's a one-shot deal as well. The elephant's a big discussion, right? Many angles, many types of shots, many perceptions from the clients, many things that the elephant will decide on his own. The bush decides some of it. So buffalo and elephant lead to most of the discussion on follow-up shots. So good question. All right, looks like we're back to Mr. Austin. You're up again.
Hey, so you said when you started out tonight that you're going to try to get a ticket to Tanzania in July. KLM sort of boogered things up for you, and you're looking at Qatar Airlines.
Yes, sir.
What are you going to do? Go up to Chicago and catch them out of Chicago?
I would connect Memphis or St. Louis, me personally, to Detroit or Chicago. And then from there, you land in Qatar. I guess it's Qatar.
Yeah.
But it's a very, very nice airport. Probably the best airport I've ever been in. I mean, it is nice.
So they fly out of Detroit also?
I believe I took that flight before, and I don't want to lie to you. I think I flew out of Detroit, but maybe it was Chicago. Could have been Chicago.
Yeah, I was looking at them because they can get you straight into Windhoek, Namibia, and I was looking at Chicago.
Gotcha. Well, then, very good chance. Well, it would depend on the schedules, but I flew them one time in good airline. To me, it was a good airline, good equipment. No troubles. No troubles.
All right. So one other quick question. You said that you have to take your camps down every year. So I'm assuming everything's tent camps, but with other equipment available. What do? You store it in a metal container somewhere in Kilimanjaro, or what do you do?
We have a large amount of equipment stored in different places in Tanzania. So Now that's just with our Tanzania operation. So my company operates South Africa, Mozambique, Botswana, a little bit in Botswana, in Tanzania. Tanzania is my favorite, and that's the camps we're discussing. Those camps are taken down and stored in metal storage containers. Some of the equipment is in metal storage containers, cargo containers, outside of the hunting area. Another class of equipment goes back to my office in Arusha, where I have a big storeroom. You know, our vehicles are packed away, and in certain expensive equipment is put in there. And then my personal hunting equipment, you know, I've got a lot of it over there, but usually I fly back and forth with my favorite clothes and backpack and guns. So, but yes, we break them down completely, and we store that equipment every year. So to give you an idea, the toilets, I have porcelain toilets in the middle of nowhere, Tanzania, in a remote camp, right? That toilet is pulled out of the ground, put in the storage unit. My tier 1 tents that the clients sleep in are dusted off, cleaned up, folded up. They're back to Arusha to go into our storeroom there, because I want to monitor them closely. They're just more expensive than a toilet. So yeah, so we break it down, store it away properly, and then wait for the next season.
Okay.
All right. On to Adam. You're up again. What you got?
So trying to plan time frame on safari. I'm a little bit limited because of my work. I'm a farmer, so I got, you know, planting season in the spring and harvest in the fall, so it makes it a little bit tough. But if you were going to go on a safari for yourself, for your own personal pleasure, at any time of the year, what would be the time of year you would go?
It would, for me, it would 100%. It would 100% depend on the animal I was after. So, meaning that different places for different species have a different time of year, and then I would pick the best, you know, the best time for that. So are you looking at a general plains game on a game ranch, Namibia, South Africa situation? You looking for a wilderness area? Or are you looking for a certain animal? What are you looking for?
Plains game. Yeah, probably something in either Namibia or South Africa for the first one at least. Yeah, I got a list of things, you know, probably like kudu and some other stuff. You know, I haven't got all that fully figured out. I got a long list eventually.
Yeah, and everybody does. So the thing that you'll see as a first-time person, you'll be attracted to package deals that have a lot of animals that look great and are too good to be true. And by golly, it's only $2,000. I can't wait to get on the plane. I probably wouldn't jump at that, right? I would, even though you may shoot 10 animals, because you know deep down you're going to shoot whatever gets in the way. Pick 4 animals and find the outfitter that can do those 4 animals the best for you. Don't fall for a package deal. Don't fall for something with a hook in it. Don't shop price. Shop what 3 or 4 animals on a plains game bag are going to make you happy, and then you narrow down country, area, and outfitter, and then talk to that man, and he'll, if you pick the right one, he'll tell you the right time of year. You know, like for kudu, you may want to be in the rut, you know, or you may not. Depends on the guy, right? Depends on the property. So that the thing to best answer that question, I can say it's not really a time of year. I've done successful hunts in December, and I've done successful hunts in March, and we do most of it June, July, and August, September, right? That's the bulk of the season, June, July, August, September. But pick the animals, research the areas. Don't let somebody tell you that that let me think of an example. I can't. I mean, you know, the biggest kudu in South Africa are typically in Limpopo, right? But does 2 inches of horn make a difference in the hunting experience? Because in the Eastern Cape, bigger properties better hunt, but you're not, you know. So do you want to hunt on a small place or a big place? You just really got to narrow your animals down. Don't fall into the package hunt mentality, because there will be a shortcoming there, whether you know it or not. And I ain't saying everybody that offers a package hunt is a bad guy. I'm just saying nobody can do everything the best. Pick 4 animals. Be happy if you find a guy that matches your animals, and then do your research. Do your research on the best area to hunt them, and then he'll advise on time of year whether it's possible or not.
Okay. Nathan, may I add to that?
Yes, sir, please.
My first trip was to Namibia, and the animals I really wanted was you know, the kudu, the gemsbuck, and you know, a springbuck, and you know, the general, you know, things that you want. Upon talking to the references on some of the outfitters, and the one I actually ended up going with, the reference, who didn't have any, you know, any skin in the game, he didn't care one way or the other, he never got any money from the outfitter, but he recommended, he said, if you go, you should really think about hunting mountain zebra. And I said, well, I was not really interested in mountain zebra. And he goes, you know what, if you like hunting, you should definitely think about it. Take the money, and when you get there, you know, then you can decide. And so I said, okay, I really didn't have much interest in doing it, going over there. But once I got there, we hunted mountain zebra. And if I could do any of the hunts that I did that first trip, again, it would have been that zebra hunt. So maybe I would, if you're going over the first time, maybe keep an open mind and a little extra money, because some of the hunts that you don't consider might be the, you know, the most enjoyable.
That's exactly right. And then I just realized something. I skipped the referee's question. I mean, I have done a disjustice.
I was gonna get you on it later.
But I think no. I mean, there's no question you're next. But I think that you can probably relate to what Drew just said in terms of a mountain reed buck.
Yeah, certainly. So I hunted with Nathan's company last July, and he said, hey, if you're going, you know, that mountain reed buck, if you have opportunities, are really a really cool hunt. And it wasn't on my list. It wasn't, you know, anything I really wanted or knew much about. But once we got, you know, to that area, the Eastern Cape and those mountains, and it was a huge property and big areas, and we spent some time, and I wound up shooting a pretty good mountain reed buck. I don't know, day 6 or 7, something like that. But it was probably one of the more enjoyable hunts that I had. You know, because you're on a big low fence property and you're way up in these mountains, and it was a great hunt. And same thing, it wasn't even on my radar, you know.
Yeah, that's so that experience from Drew, and then the experience from you, and you know, that goes back to, you know, the right planning or being in a place, right? So Mr. Drew was in a place where somebody said, hey, you're in Namibia, mountain zebra. And if somebody told me that on my first safari, I'd be like, zebra's a zebra, black and white, white and black. I mean, a zebra's a zebra. But no, they're not. A mountain zebra is very, very unique, and it's a special hunt. And it wasn't his main animal, but was his most memorable thing from that hunt. So once again, he did his research, I'm sure, and ended up in a good place, and an add-on animal was the highlight, right? And same with same with, you know, Mark. I mean, that mountain reed buck probably wasn't, well, I mean, it was a great, it was a great one, but yeah, you shot bigger animals per class or whatever, or maybe you like the kudu more or the nyala more or whatever, but still just that type of hunt on those bigger properties without the being restricted to a package deal and what, I mean, it opens you up to do an experience that turned out to be something that you'll always remember, that mountain reed buck hunt. I mean, that's just a fun hunt.
Yeah, yeah. You know, we spent you know, half of a day where we didn't shoot a mountain reed buck, you know, and we were covered up with them, you know, but it was something where, you know, it wasn't quite big enough, and we didn't shoot an animal that day. But that was, I mean, hiking around a mountain to get up and get in and be in the middle of them was one of the cooler hunts while I was down there.
Yeah.
Adam, let me say this to you. You know, you're going to do this the first time. Talk to a lot of people. Get their thoughts on what their experience was like the first time. If you're going to go, you decide, as Nathan said, what are the main animals you want. You come to your arrangement with your outfitter for that. But then be familiar, ask and inquire in advance, what is in the area that you intend to take me to hunt other than the 4 animals that I have agreed to hunt with you? And that outfitter is going to tell you what else is available. AH is a good site to look at what's a good quality mountain rebuck. Research that. Where do you take aim at a mountain rebuck? What's a good quality whatever? And I tell you this because I was on a hunt with several people, not our hunt, Art, the previous one that I was on, that there were 7 people in camp, group hunt. And there was a guy that, you know, he was on a budget. He had certain animals, and he did not realize what he passed on one day. And it was not that expensive. He passed on a warthog that had 12-inch tusks. And his PH was saying, for God's sakes, shoot this thing. Nah, that's just not in my budget. Well, we're talking about $400 for a warthog. That's not in my budget. But he passed on an incredible, incredible trophy. And that's the thing you don't want to do, is look back and go, boy, how stupid was I that I passed on something like that.
But very good advice, Mr. Austin. Very good advice. The thing is, you don't, if you go to Cameroon or if you go to the Congo to hunt a bongo and you pass up a yellowback duiker, you should be left in the jungle to rot, right? If you go on a plains game hunt and you don't shoot a warthog that has 10-inch tusk, then you will probably,
you'll never see another one in your lifetime.
That's right. God will make sure you never see one again, right? I mean, you will never see one again.
Yeah.
But once again, so what I like to tell people on a plains game hunt, I like plains game hunts. In South Africa is great. In Namibia also good. I don't hunt Namibia. We hunt in South Africa. But I tell my clients there's going to be 3 types of animals that we're going to see. There's 3 types only. Don't shoot. Those animals are immature or females or something. Maybe you can't shoot them on that property. Who knows? There's going to be an animal you're going to shoot, which is a trophy by anybody's standards, but most importantly, what you want and what you and I have worked out. There's going to be a shoot animal. That's the second kind. And the third type of animal is shoot that or give me your gun, because I am going to shoot that. I mean, if it's that big, if you see a bush buck that's that big and you don't shoot it, I may shoot it and I'll just send it. Not going to take any time away from your hunt. I'll send somebody to pick it up But I mean, if it's that big and you don't shoot it, somebody needs to shoot it, and it may just. I mean,
Exactly. Nathan, I've got a 16.5-inch bush buck that was totally by chance. And I could hardly see the animal, but the tracker saw it, pointed it out. The PH said, for God's sakes,
shoot in amongst
can
them.
you see the white line? Can you see the white spots? I'm like, yeah, I see the white spots. For God's sakes, shoot the white spot.
Yep.
And I did a full body mount on that sucker. I mean, most people, Nathan, wouldn't you agree, if they got a 14-inch bush buck, they'd be happy?
Oh, yes, sir. Well, the answer is yes. And I've got a full mount of a bush buck right above my head right now, and he's not the biggest, but it was on the Limpopo River, and I didn't even know what it was. It was my first time. I didn't even really know what a bush buck was, and am so happy with that animal. My favorite one, but one of my favorite animals from that safari. This is before I became a guide. I had a job in Texas that paid really well.